guys, welcome to Recovery Room. We are so grateful to be here at Root and Flow Yoga in Mira Mesa, San Diego. Check out their website, drop some love, drop some comments. Today's flow is about flexibility, so it's going to be a flow designed to open up through the chest, the shoulders, as well as the legs and the hips. It's just really a good overall flexibility flow. We will be doing some vinyasas and chaturangas and all the fun stuff, but this one is really meant to be a slower flow with some longer held poses to really open everything up. So for this flow, you don't need to have props, but it does help if you need a little assistance getting into some of the poses to have some blocks handy. You can use a strap as well in some of these poses. We'll go ahead and we'll get started right away in wide-legged child's pose. So you can start in the middle of your mat. You're going to spread your legs, your knees as far as is comfortable for you and bring your toes to touch. Set your weight back to your heels and just start to lower your chest down to the floor, keeping your tailbone tucked. You can put your forehead on the ground. Just leave your arms kind of relaxed out in front of you to begin. We're just going to start by taking some deep breaths to settle in to our flow, to our pose. Try to get your inhale to match the length of your exhale here. And just start to set an intention for your flow today. Like a little extra stretch in your triceps, you can bring your hands to prayer, bring them up over your head and rest them on the back of your neck. You might need to move your elbows a little bit to stretch into the triceps here. From here, bring your palms back down to the mat. Just start to walk your hands back in a little bit. We're coming up onto all fours into tabletop pose. So you want to make sure that your shoulders are stacked over wrists, your hips are stacked over your knees. And we're just going to start with some wrist circles to warm up and open up through the wrists here. So just start to circle over your wrists, weight going beyond and behind to the sides of the wrists a little bit. And switch directions. Keep your fingers nice and wide in this. We're going to flip our position of our hand backwards here. So you're going to bring your your fingers to face your knees here. And you want to really make sure that you extend long and wide through your fingers. And you want to make sure that you're not dumping your weight in your wrists as you make circles in this position. Just feeling the stretch through the backs of the forearms here, and go the other way. And crackling and popping, that's totally normal if you are too. From here, you can either tuck your toes, you can leave your feet flat to the floor, but we're just going to sit back a little bit and stretch into the backs, or the fronts of the arms here. Sit back on your heels or your feet, however you're sitting, and shake out your wrists a little bit. And we're going to put our backs of our hands onto the ground now with our fingers facing our knees. Again, spreading wide through the fingertips. sit back as much as you can. You can bend through the elbows here. You just want to really stretch through the backs of the wrists here. If you can, tuck those toes under. We're going to sit back onto our heels again and just rotate the wrists out. Interlace the fingers and just give yourself both directions of wrist circles here. You want to really feel the stretch through the bottoms of your feet here as well. If you can't sit in this position, that's totally fine. You can always just tuck your feet underneath as well. Or you can stay up here if you don't have the flexibility in your knees. Okay. And from here, we're just going to come back to tabletop pose. We're going to warm up into the backs of the shoulders here a little bit. We're going to start by taking shoulder circles. So take your right arm and just start making some forward wide open circles here. As you bring your arm up high, just make sure you open up as wide as you can through the chest and go the other direction. Your next inhale, raise that right arm up to the sky, really open through the chest, squeezing your shoulder blades together behind your back. We're coming into thread the needle. So you're going to take that right hand, slide it behind the left arm, and lay onto your right shoulder blade to open through the back body here. From here, you can either leave your left hand where it's at, you can extend it out in front of you, or you can raise it up and take a little bind behind your back, tucking that left hand into the right thigh crease. You want to make sure that your hips are still stacked evenly over your knees, so you're not leaning all your weight to one side or the other. Let your neck hang soft, no work here in the neck. Plant the left palm back down in front of the face, pushing yourself back up out of the pose. Opening through the chest, lifting the right arm into the sky. Open up one more time and bring the right hand back down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, so we're just going to take some forward shoulder circles with the left arm. Opening through the chest. And back the other direction. On your next inhale, bring that left arm up to the sky. We're going to slide it through behind the right hand for thread the needle on the left side. Keeping your hips stacked over your knees. Take whatever variation of arms feels good to you here. Maybe your right arm out in front, so you can give yourself a little push into that shoulder. Whatever feels good here. And bring that right palm back in front of the face. Lifting back up onto the right arm. Open your left arm back up to the sky, stretching through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades, and bring the left hand back down to the mat. From here, we're just going to take some cat and cow. So from here, we're going to inhale, drop the belly, start rotating the tailbone up to the sky, lifting your gaze at the very end. Inhale deep. Exhale, round the back. Tuck the chin to the chest. Open the shoulder blades. 2 more. Inhale, drop the belly. Lift the gaze. Exhale, round through the back. Open the back body here. Don't dump all your weight into your wrists. Inhale, drop the belly. Start your movement from the tailbone. Last thing to come up should be your head. Open through the heart. Exhale, tuck the tailbone first. Head comes down last. and back to neutral spine. From here, we're just gonna take some rib circles. So just make circles with the rib cage here in one direction, whatever feels good. Loosening everything up, and go the other way. All right, from here, we're just gonna extend our right leg out behind us, straight and square, keeping the hips level so you're not opening through the hips here. You really want your toes to point down on that right leg and keep your hips level, tucking your navel in so that you're engaging your core. From here, we're just gonna drop the right foot down at the back of the mat and swing the left foot over to the left side, kind of off the mat. We're coming up. My foot's gonna come off because I'm tall. We're coming up here, we're coming into gate pose. So we'll do both sides of the stretch here. You're gonna extend your right hand down the right leg and just lift through your left arm, opening up that left side of your body here. You wanna make sure your chest is nice and open. You can look at your extended left hand. Reach out with the left fingers as much as you can so you can really extend that left side body. Exhale, bring the left hand back down to the mat, right under the shoulder. We're gonna reach with our right hand this time. So reach up overhead, long line from your right toes all the way to your right fingertips. Again, opening through the chest. You don't want to collapse forward. Open through the chest. You can look whatever helps your balance here. Maybe it's down at the mat, maybe it's up at the right hand, maybe it's up at the sky, whatever feels good. And bring the right hand back down to the mat. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So right knee comes back down. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. From here, we're just gonna extend the left leg back behind us, straight and square. So you don't wanna open and have your butt uneven. You wanna make sure that your hips are both level to the ground here, pushing out of the wrists. From here, we're just gonna put that left foot down at the back of our mat and swing that right foot open to the right side of the mat. So you can see this from the back side now. We're coming up. Make sure that your hips are still square. We're gonna reach our left hand down the left leg and reach our right hand up over our body. Feel the difference in this side. Don't collapse the weight into your left arm onto your left leg, especially on your knee joint. You wanna be using your core to hold yourself up, not this left hand. Exhale the right hand back down. We're raising our left arm up to the sky, up and over, stretching through the left side body. Nice deep breaths here. And from here, we're coming back to all fours. All right, from here, we're gonna walk our palms about one palm print forward. We're gonna tuck our toes. We're coming into our first down dog of the day. So just tuck your toes, lift your butt, and send it back. Stretching into the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. Make sure your feet are about hip width distance apart. Your hands are about shoulder distance apart. Try to lean like you're putting 90% of your weight into your legs and feet here. Take a few breaths, take some movement. Maybe you stretch one foot and one side and then the other in this pose. Just do whatever you need to do in your first down dog. On an inhale, let's lift our heels and drop them over to the left side of the mat so we stretch again through that right side body. Stay nice and strong through the arms, keeping your hips high, your weight pushed back. Inhale, heels up to center and over to the right, stretching through the left side body. Remember, don't dump your weight in your wrists here. Inhale, heels back to center. From here, we're just gonna walk our feet slowly to the top of the mat and come into our first ragdoll fold. So feet are about hip width distance apart. From here, you wanna bend from your hips first. So you wanna lean with your hips into your forward fold, bringing your pelvis down. And then you can let your hands dangle here. You can grab opposite elbows, maybe sway side to side a little bit. Just take a couple breaths here and really feel yourself stretching into the backs of your legs. If it feels better for this first one, really bend into your legs so your hamstrings get the full effect if your calves are taking all your focus right now. You want to make sure that your head and neck are effortless here, like they're just dangling on a cord. Feel the traction in the upper back. Feel the weight and the gravity taken out of the upper back here, and just let your legs hold all the weight. Here we're going to inhale to a halfway lift, so flat back. Keep a micro bend in your legs. Exhale, forward fold all the way back down. Inhale, arms come up overhead, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands at heart center. You can bring your feet toes to touch, heels slightly apart, or feet about hip width distance apart, whatever is comfortable for you. From here, we're just going to do a couple sun salutations. I'm already warm, maybe you are too, but we'll just get a little bit warmer before we start here. So we're going to stand in a strong in our mountain pose, weight in the feet. You want to make sure that you have some upward energy in the arches of your feet, so the weight is in the balls and the heels of your feet equally. You want to make sure that you're lifting through the fronts of your legs and your kneecaps can rise. Your pelvis is tucked forward. Your chest is open, your shoulders drop back, and your chin is slightly tucked while the crown of your head is lifted by a string towards the ceiling. Just feel the strength in this pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, big sigh out the mouth. From here, we're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward, slight bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, set your palms down. We're going to step back to plank here. We're going to lower slowly down to our bellies here. If you need to go knees first, that's totally fine. But from here, we're just going to stretch into the front of our shoulders and chest here. So you're going to extend the right arm out to the side of you. You want to try and keep your wrist in line with your shoulder. We're just going to roll onto the right side. Maybe from here you plant the left foot in front of the leg. Maybe you just leave it bent out in front of you, but whatever feels comfortable, if you can, keep rolling. We're coming on to the right side as much as possible. You can take that left leg behind the right leg. Maybe you can reach your left arm up to the sky and take a little bind behind you. Find your edge and breathe into that chest. Plant your left palm back in front of your face. Come back onto your stomach nice and slow. Extend your left arm out to the left side. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So just start turning onto the left side. Stop where you find your edge. Maybe it's here with the leg out like this. Maybe it's here with the right foot behind. Do whatever feels good in the right arm. Maybe you reach it up and take a small bind behind your back. Whatever feels good to you today, just make sure that your neck and your head are relaxed in this pose. Bring your right palm back in front of your face, coming back onto the stomach. We're going to take 3 baby cobras here. So we're just going to start working in the back body. From here, you just plant your hands here right by about chest level, and we're going to lift up using only the upper body. Keep the feet planted. On your inhale, we're just going to lift the head and chest off the floor. Hands float next to you. Exhale, back down. 2 more. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back down. Last one. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back down to the ground. From here, you can either push to your knees or come straight to down dog with me. Inhale up, exhale back to down dog. From here, you can hop, step, walk your feet back to the front of your mat. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms rise up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. For the next sun salutation, we're going to do a little bit more with our flexibility here. So we're going to get into the hips and hamstrings a little bit. You're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back to center. Grab left hand here. Bend to the right. Inhale, hands back to center. Exhale, bring your hands back down to your low back, kind of resting at the base of your palms at the top of your hips. And we're going to lean back for a slight back bend. Keep your pelvis tucked so you're not dumping in the low back. Exhale, forward fold. Interlace the hands behind the back. And stretch through the chest as you forward fold. Take a breath here. Exhale your hands down to the mat in front of you. We're going to bring our palms down to the mat and we're going to step our feet back. We're coming into down dog here. We're going to inhale the right leg up to the sky. We're going to swing it through, plant that foot. We're going to drop the left knee down to the floor. From here, you can either stay here if this is enough. I really want you to stretch into that hip flexor on the left here. Or if you want a little bit more advanced, we're coming into lizard pose. So you can heel toe your right foot to the outer edge of your right side of your mat. We're just going to open through the right side of the hip. Maybe it feels good to stay up here on your palms. Maybe if you can, it feels good to come down onto your forearms. Just meet yourself where you're at. We're going to take a few breaths here. Come back onto your palms. We're going to take our right hand, reach it up to the sky. If you can, bend your left leg. We're going to grab onto the left foot behind us. If you can't come here, just stay in your lizard pose. That's totally fine. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe you come down onto that left forearm. Whatever feels good. We're stretching into the outer right hip and the left hip flexor here. Bring that left foot back down to the mat. Don't let it slingshot. Right palm comes back down. Come back onto both palms. We're going to slide that right foot back in between the hands. From here, we're coming into half splits. So just extend through the right leg here. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, bend from the waist, from the hips first, over that front straight right leg. Keep a micro bend in the right knee and protect your joints. Keep your chest nice and square. Your heart shines forward. Don't round in the back here. From here, we're going to put that right foot back down. We're coming up onto the back foot here. Again, you want to kind of widen your stance here because we're going to come into warrior one. So you kind of want a wide stance between your feet here. We're going to bring the left foot heel down to the mat. That left back foot should be at about a 45-degree angle on your mat. Sink your hips down as low as you can, but you want to straighten and square the hips. So if you want to, you can come up first. If you need to straighten your leg for balance, that's fine. If you even need to bring that back foot in a little, that's okay. But you want to make sure when you're in warrior one that both hips are straight and square to the front of the mat, and then sink into the pose. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up overhead, shoulders down the back. Inhale, straighten that front leg. From here, we're coming into pyramid pose. So it might help you to have a few blocks here, Or maybe you just keep your hands on your waist. It depends on your flexibility here, but this is a big hamstring stretch. So take a big breath in here, and on your exhale, again, you're hinging from the hips. You want to make sure that your hips stay straight and square so you're not opening your butt to the right side of your mat. You really want to make sure that your hips stay square so you feel that nice stretch in the right hamstring. From here, maybe you come down onto a block. Maybe you just stay right here like this. Maybe you come fingertips down to the ground. It just depends on where you're at with flexibility. As you lower, you can start to lower the upper body, but make sure you aren't just rounding in your back in this pose. You really want to make sure that you are pelvis first in your forward fold. From here, you're going to plant your palms back down to the mat. You're just going to slide that right foot back into a plank pose. You're going to take an inhale here, lower down to chaturanga or all the way to your belly. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back to down dog. And we're going to the other side now. So from here, inhale your left leg to the sky and swing it through so that that foot is between the palms. We're going to lower the right knee down to the floor. You can leave your toes tucked to support your knee a little more, or you can just flatten your foot to the floor, whatever is more comfortable for you. And from here, we're coming into that lunge. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe you heel toe that left foot to the edge of your mat and open, coming onto the outer edge of the left foot, and settle wherever feels comfortable for you. Feeling that stretch in the left outer hip and the right hip flexor. As you inhale, create space, and as you exhale, settle a little bit more in and let gravity do the work for you here. From here, you can come back onto your palms. If this is enough of a stretch, you can stay here. We're going to bend into our right leg. If you're able to, reach your left arm up towards the sky and grab for that right foot. Feeling the stretch in the front of the right leg here. You can either stay here or come back down onto your forearm. Wherever you're at today is totally fine. Let your right foot go slowly to the floor. Bringing both palms back down. Come up onto the hands. Heel toe that left foot back in between the hands. We're coming back to half splits again. So from here, just straighten the left leg. You want to feel an imaginary energy like you're pulling your right hip forward and your left hip back. So you're always squaring those hips. You don't want to open here through the right hip. As you pull that right hip forward, you may have to bend your knee or come out of the stretch more. Just notice what happens as you square your hips off. One side will probably feel more flexible than the other. Just breathe into your pose. Make sure you're not just dumping in your upper back. Keep your chest shining forward. Here we are coming to warrior one on this side. So this is where we're back into our lunge. You want to make sure that your stance is pretty far wide on your mat here, so you've got space between where the right foot lands and the left foot. We're going to drop that right heel down in our lunge here. We're going to make sure that our knee is not tracking over the ankle in that left foot. We're going to come up here and make sure that our hips are straight and square. So you want to really pull that right hip forward, left hip back. Feeling the opening here in between the legs. When you're ready, you can raise your arms up overhead, but make sure that your shoulders stay down your back. You don't want to lift up out of your shoulders here. Keep everything engaged. Make sure that you're not dumping in your pelvis here, so keep your pelvis kind of tipped backwards here slightly. And inhale, straighten that front leg. If you want to, you can bring that back foot in just a couple of inches. Straightening and squaring through the hips here. We're gonna come down over the left leg this time. So inhale, nice and tall in the back. Exhale, you're gonna lean with the pelvis first over that front left leg. Keep a micro bend in that knee to protect your knee joint. Meet yourself wherever you're at. Maybe you put a block here to come down on so you can keep your chest and your heart open. Maybe you're flexible enough to bend down, fingertips to the floor. Maybe you can bend all the way over that front leg. I am definitely not that flexible on the left side today. Both palms outside the left foot. Step that back foot a little further back if you brought it forward, and we're just going to scoop that left foot back to plank pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale into chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale back to down dog. From here, we're just gonna walk our hands back to the back of our mat. We're gonna bring our feet about the distance of our mat apart, heels and toes out. We're coming into yogi squat. So just tuck your butt. You wanna make sure in this pose that you are not just rounding in the back. You wanna make sure that you're using your glutes to hold your legs open so that if you bring your hands up, your knees don't collapse in. And you wanna have your chest open and your back nice and tall here. If this is comfortable for you, you can start taking a bind. So you can inhale, extend your left hand out in front of the left toes. Inhale the right arm up overhead. If you want to, you can even wrap around and take a bind here. Opening through the chest. And back to center. We're gonna inhale the right hand out in front of the right foot, the left hand up to the sky. From here you can take that bind if you'd like, interlacing the hands. And back to center. From here, we're just coming into a forward fold to come out of the pose. So you're just gonna reach your butt back up to the sky, bring your feet parallel to the mat, and just bring yourself into a ragdoll fold, bending at the hips first. From here, we're just gonna crawl our way back with our hands to the front of our mat. We're coming into down dog here. From here, we're gonna inhale our right leg to the ceiling. This time we're gonna open through that right hip. So just drop your right heel to the left glute. If you look under your left armpit, you should be able to see your right foot there. Just try and bring that heel as close to the butt as you can. Maybe you can take some knee circles here, whatever you need to open into your hip. We're gonna swing that right leg through between the palms. We're coming into warrior two here, so you're gonna see my backside first, sorry. We're gonna drop that left heel down. We're coming into warrior two, so that means we want the right heel to align with the left arch. We wanna make sure that our knee is tracking over the ankle and we're not leaning forward over that ankle. And from here, if you want to, you can just cartwheel the hands up. If you need to, just make sure that you are opening here through the hips. You want to make sure that your shoulder blades are nice and lined up with your hips open, you want to make sure that it's one long line from middle finger to middle finger. You want to gaze over the front middle finger and make sure that your shoulders are dropped down behind your back. So if it helps, you can rotate the palms up. That really brings your shoulders down, and then just bring them back, leaving your shoulders where they're at. And just sink into that front leg a little bit more here. From here, we're going to reverse the warrior. So on your inhale, lean forward just a little bit and reach that right arm up overhead, really extending through the side body here. You can take a bind with this left hand. You can leave the left hand on the left leg, but don't put your weight in that left arm. We're going to straighten that front leg. It should feel good. Lean a little bit further into that extended reverse triangle here. And we're going to come into triangle pose. So jut your left hip out towards the back of your mat. Lean forward with that right hand. And bring the right hand down, maybe down the right shin, maybe down to the mat, but you don't want to collapse in the right side body. You really want to create length here. Open up through the chest, bring the gaze where it feels comfortable. Maybe it's down to the ground, maybe it's the ceiling, maybe you bring your left arm up. From here, we're coming into our peak pose. We're coming into sugar cane. So maybe you have to pause and stop in half moon. That's absolutely fine. Wherever you're at today is fine. So to get into half moon, you can either take a couple steps, or you can try and put yourself up into the pose by bending into the right knee, standing on the right leg, and bringing the left leg up nice and tall like you're standing on a wall with that left foot. Maybe you stop here, maybe you use the block for support. Do whatever you need today. Just make sure that you are opening and you are following all the cues exactly how I say so that you're not hurting yourself. From here, in half moon, you want to make sure that everything is nice and open. You want to make sure that you're standing with both legs. You can bend into the left leg here and grab it with the left hand. You're going to feel a nice big stretch through the front of the left leg and the hamstring on the right leg. You can use that left leg to really push and open through the chest. You're going to feel a little bit of a back bend in this pose. If you want to stay in half moon, that's absolutely fine. If you want to stay with the block, absolutely fine. Just meet yourself wherever you're at today and enjoy your peak pose. From here, bring both hands back down to the ground. We're coming into half splits. So from here, you're just gonna hinge at the hips and really feel that stretch in the back of the right leg, lifting that left leg up towards the sky. Use the glutes to squeeze into the left leg. Getting it as high to the sky as you can, bending at the hips. And we're just gonna bring that left leg all the way back down, so we're back into our lunge. Hands frame the front foot. We're gonna slide that right foot back to plank. Inhale and plank. Exhale down into chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. From here, we're going to do one more forward fold. So we're just going to walk our hands to the back of the mat. Taking a little active rest here. This is good for the low back, backs of the legs. Maybe it feels good to just bend really far into the knees and just let your chest or belly hang over the thighs. Give yourself whatever you need here. From here, we're just gonna crawl our hands back to the front like we did last time, finding our down dog, settling in. We're gonna raise the left leg up to the sky and open this time again, facing the left side of the mat. Drop the left heel down to the glutes. Look under that right armpit. You should be able to see that left foot wiggling back there.
Take whatever you need. Maybe it's a knee circle, whatever to open through that hip. And we're gonna swing that left foot through. From here, we're coming into warrior two again. So you wanna align the left heel with the back right arch. From here, we're just gonna cartwheel the hands up into warrior two. It's a little easier to see from the front side this time. So you wanna make sure that your knee is not jutting out over that ankle. From here, you wanna make sure that your hips are open and that your shoulders stack over the hips so everything is open, facing that right side of your mat. Long line from fingertip to fingertip. Again, you can reverse the palms to make sure that your shoulders are down and gaze over that front middle finger. Inhale, we're gonna reverse the warrior, so lean forward a little bit and just dip yourself back, noticing the length in the left side body. Keep that left leg still bent. Remember, don't collapse on this back leg. You can even take a bind here if you want. And we're gonna extend through the front leg. So from here, reach even further into the left side body. Really feel that stretch. We're coming into triangle, so dip the right hip towards the back of the mat. Reach forward with the left hand and bring it down near your left shin. Take the gaze wherever it feels best for balance. Maybe you stay with your right hand in the bind. Maybe you reach it up straight overhead, really open through the chest here. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. From here, we're coming into our half moon or sugar cane, wherever you can get to. So if you want to, you can step the back foot in a little bit, or you can just bend over. Plant the left hand about 6 inches in front of into the left of the foot, and just float up into your half moon. So stand with the back foot like it's standing against a wall, open through the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together just like triangle pose. If you want to take sugar cane here, you can either use the block for support, so maybe you're here, absolutely, maybe you're here and you have to keep that right foot on the ground. Whatever level you're at right now is totally and completely fine. But bring that right foot into your palm if you're looking for the sugar cane stretch. Feeling the stretch in the back of the left leg and the front of the right thigh. And you can kick that right foot back into your hand a little more to pull yourself into more of a back bend and really open through the chest. And we're coming here into half splits. So just bend over that front leg. Use the glutes of the right leg to bring it up towards the sky. You can even grab the left leg with your left hand or both hands if you're feeling balancy today. And just pull yourself in. From here, just lower your right foot to the ground, coming into a forward fold. Toes together, heels slightly apart. Big inhale through the nose. Side out the mouth. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, we're coming into some more stretches. So we're going to start slowing down the practice a little bit. So we're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward, slight bend in the legs. Chest goes first. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your feet back to down dog. On your inhale, you're going to bring your right leg forward. We're coming into pigeon pose. So right knee goes behind the right hand, right foot behind the left hand. You're going to extend your left leg straight out behind you and sort of set yourself back onto that right hip. So for this, you really want your hips square to the front of the mat. If you find yourself, this is as far down as you can get, put a block under your butt. Put a cushion, towel, pillow, whatever you need to support yourself so you can actually rest and relax down into this pose. You also want to keep your right foot slightly flexed to protect your knee joint. We're just going to sit here for a minute. If you would like, you can inhale your arms up overhead. Maybe take Kailyn Mudra and take it into a slight back bend. If you feel pinching in your low back, don't try this. Inhale, and we're going to exhale into a forward fold, resting into our pigeon pose. Relax in the upper body, relax in the belly. Wherever you're holding tension, try to release on the exhale. We're going to inhale and use our arms to push ourselves back up to a seated position. We're just going to swing the left leg around our body, keeping the right leg exactly where it's at. We're going to grab a hold of the left foot. If you need a strap here, you can grab that. We're not going to be here for long. But we're just going to inhale our left leg straight up to the sky. Keeping your chest nice and tall, your back nice and tall. Just feel that stretch in the left leg. And from here, we're just going to plant that left foot right outside the right knee here. We're coming into a twist. So we're going to raise our left arm into the sky, plant our left hand behind us. Take this right arm that's up in the sky. We're going to hook the elbow in front of that left knee, and we're going to twist to the left. So with every inhale, you want to grow taller in the spine, and with every exhale, you want to twist further into the stretch. Release, starting with the head. Come back to center. Keep your legs as they are. We're actually going to stack our left knee on top of our right here. If this is too much for you, you can just sit cross-legged or however feels good. I can barely get into it on the left side. My left hip is really tight today. So for this pose, you want to bring these feet as close to your butt as you can. As you can see, my knees are not touching. My outer left hip and the top of my hip flexor is pretty tight today. So here is quite comfortable for me. If you want to, you can take this a little bit further. You can either extend and bend over, which is very hard for me in this pose. And if you are gonna lean forward in this pose, you wanna make sure that both of your sit bones are grounded to the mat so you're not leaning off of the left butt bone here. So inhale, long back, and you can exhale and slowly walk your hands forward. Ready, walk your hands back towards your knees. We're just gonna unhook the legs here slowly. Mine are nice and tight, so this takes me a second. We're just gonna windshield wiper the knees. So just place your feet at the edges of the mat here and just slowly open through the hips, leaning side to side. And we're gonna rock back forward, crossing at the ankles. Place your palms on them, and we're gonna step back to down dog again.
we're gonna raise the left leg and we're gonna swing it through into pigeon pose on the left side. So you want the left knee behind the left wrist, the left foot behind the right wrist. You wanna slide that right foot back straight and square. You wanna make sure you're not rolling the ankles in or out in this pose on the back right leg. You wanna make sure that your hips stay square again. And so if you need something under this left cheek to help you settle into the pose comfortably without holding, I totally recommend that, because you don't want to be holding yourself in this pose. It's hard for your body to settle in and really get flexible if you're flexing and contracting all these muscles. So from here, you're just gonna stay seated here. You're gonna flex through that left foot to protect the left knee. Maybe you inhale your arms up overhead, bringing it into a back bend if you desire. No pinching in the low back. And exhale forward into pigeon. If you can only go to here, take as much of the effort out of the upper body and the abs as possible. So try really hard to soften with the breath into this pose and use as little muscles as necessary to hold yourself in this pose. Try to let go in your shoulders and your abs and your low back. Exhale and soften into the pose. On your inhale, we're going to come back up. We're going to swing that right leg out in front of us like we did on the other side. And we're just going to grab a hold of that right foot. Keep the back nice and tall, the chest open. And just raise that right leg into the sky, feeling that nice stretch. You don't want to come out of your shoulders and round in your back. You really want to engage, drop your shoulders down. If this requires a strap, use that. We're just going to plant that right foot to the outside of the left knee. We're coming into that twist again. So you want to be nice and tall through your spine. You don't want to round in your spine or collapse in the spine here. So we're going to reach that right hand behind us, left hand up towards the sky. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, tuck that left elbow in front of the right knee and just settle into your twist here. Maybe you look over the right shoulder. With every inhale, you're looking to lengthen. Exhale, settle in a little bit more. And release, coming back first with your head. From here, now we're going to stack the right knee on top of the left knee. The side's a little bit more open for me. You can see my knees have less of a gap on this side. From here, you just want to keep those heels again tucked as close to your body as you can. Inhale nice and tall. Keep both of these sitting bones on the mat. We're going to come into a forward fold if you can. If not, that's totally fine. Some people just like to push here and around. I don't like that because it pulls too much in my hips. But if you're not feeling much when you lean forward, this is an extra challenge to really just push into those knees and really round in the back. But if you're going to forward fold, make sure that your butt is planted. Inhale nice and tall and just walk your hands forward on your exhale, collapsing over the legs here. Nice. Inhale, walk those hands back. Come back to a seated position. We're gonna come into windshield wiper with the legs one more time to just release in the hips a little bit. And from here, we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So if you want to grab a block to rest yourself on, that's fine, but just bring your legs open to wherever is comfortable. If you're here, that's fine. Don't try to match me just because it's what I'm doing. I certainly can't do complete side splits here. So from here, again, we are bending from our hips. We're not rounding in our back, we're bending in our hips and leaning our weight forward. You want to make sure that your feet are still engaged and flexed and that your toes can point towards the ceiling. So if they're really collapsing in or out, just try really hard to engage here. Maybe you have to bring your legs in a little bit. But we're going to bend in the pelvis and lean forward with our hips first. Maybe you stop here. Maybe you can lean down a little bit. Maybe you can bring your head to a block. Wherever you're at, just settle in and let your breath take you a little bit further into the pose here. Next inhale, use your hands to just walk yourself back up to a seated pose, nice and slow. You can come down to a laying down position. I'm just going to do some spinal twists before we close down our practice. So from here, we're just going to bring our feet flat to the mat, so our knees are bent. We're going to either extend our arms directly up to the sides in cactus or extend arms up overhead, whatever feels good for you. You're going to cross your right leg over your left leg. We're going to shift our hips slightly to the right, and we're going to let our knees drop over to the left. If this is too much of a twist, just try stacking one leg on top of the other. If you want a little extra, you can come into eagle legs here. The most important thing is that you keep your chest open and that right shoulder planted to the ground. If your right shoulder is coming up off the ground, try backing out of the twist just a little bit. You want to be twisting from your navel, not your upper body. Go ahead and bring your legs back up to center, uncrossing the legs. We're switching to the other side, so shift your weight back to the middle. Cross the left leg over the right leg this time and shift your hips a little bit to the left. Take whatever variation you like with the arms and legs. Just let your knees fall over to the right here. Inhale, send the breath to that left hip, low back and the belly. Softening into the twist, keeping the left shoulder planted on the ground. Inhale your legs back up to center.
Bring your hips back to the middle of your mat. Take any final movements that feel good. For me, happy baby feels good right now, so I'm gonna grab my big toes with my 2-piece fingers, bending at 90-degree angles in my legs, my knees. Just rocking side to side, giving my low back a little massage, keeping my tailbone planted. Breathe into the pose here. Starting to wind down, feeling the body slow and quiet. When you're ready, come back to stillness. We're going to extend our legs out for Shavasana. Right out in front of you. Take up some room on the mat here. Spread your feet out. Let the feet fall out to the sides. Rest your arms outside your body, maybe pulling your shoulder blades together underneath you to open through the chest slightly. Keeping the tailbone planted. Really just extend here, take up space. Take one big inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. Start to notice the effects of your practice today. What feels open? What has more space that you didn't have before the practice? It feels expanded. And come back to your intention. And go with the breath and the technique. As thoughts come to the mind, just let them go back out gently, integrating the effects of the practice with your body in stillness. Shavasana, I encourage you to stay here for as long as you like. If you're ready, you can start waking up the body, wiggling fingers and toes. Drawing a deeper breath from belly to chest. Exhale. Rolling the head side to side. Keeping the eyes closed, maybe roll out your wrists and ankles a little bit. Roll on to whatever side feels good for you. Coming into the fetal position. Take a couple breaths here. Just enjoying the last moments of this gift to yourself. Sticking with your intention and your breath. Keeping your eyes closed, you can come to a seated position. Whatever feels comfortable for you today. And bring your hands down to your knees. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up to this practice. Observe what's changed. Take one more breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, loud sigh out the mouth.
tuck your chin slightly in gratitude. Thank yourself and the universe. It's something you can be grateful for to carry through the rest of your day. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me. I can't wait to work with you again soon. Namaste.